guys! We're gonna watch old cartoons in the public domain!
Shadow's putting the VHS in our old VCR. I haven't used it since 2006.
I'm the one who still remembers using VCRs because Gunn used them regularly on Prison Island back when I was in my chamber before Robotnik freed me.
Retro vibes incoming! This tape is ancient.
More like migraine vibes. The tracking is just pitiful. I think Tails and Cream might have watched the tape a billion times, hence the lower degrading quality of the tape.
I don't blame you on that, Shadow. Tails and Cream have been watching lots of classic movies on VHS lately, and rewinding tapes can degrade the video. It's a good thing sealed and brand new VHS tapes are easy to find online, except for the rare ones.
Shadow, I think the tape won't start. I think it's time to get another one. It's definitely crying for help.
Jesus Christ! The tape reels are coming out of the VCR. Shadow, do you mind if I destroy the tape before it combusts?
Help yourself, Pink Hedgehog. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're having slight technical difficulties, but the good news is that I bought a brand new copy of the VHS at the flea market last weekend next to the 7-Eleven. We've had the old one since spring 2003 when Sonic X premiered around the world, and that tape was also from the flea market, but it was used, and we all watched the tape over the years. For real, let's watch public domain cartoons.
Let me hit the play button just to make sure it starts.
Whatever, faker.
We can't have an old VHS tape without that telephone dialing sound. Did you hear that? Little things like that bring back memories.
A simpler time, yet also one filled with agonizing dial-up internet.
The blank screen is taking forever.
Just wait for the logo. There it is. This intro theme is eerie yet nostalgic. Kind of funky. Reminds me of those old arcade games and older home video opening logos.
That's not funky, Sonic. It's like a haunted elevator stuck on repeat.
It gave me chills again. But maybe that's just the excitement for the cartoons, and Mighty Mouse is up first.
Now let's tell the fans why we're watching public domain cartoons. After watching Steamboat Willie back in January, we thought about watching more old cartoons, but because of how busy we've been making videos, we didn't have time. But now, let's see the sheep and wolves.
For a very old cartoon, it has an interesting use of limited animation, but the chase scenes are surprisingly fluid. You'll see why in a bit.
Yeah. Some of the classic cartoon favorites aged well and aged bad, and this one is like a mix of both. The little lambs are just so cute, so precious. Cream and I would make great shepherds for the lambs to grow up and make wool. The predators will have a big taste of hammer justice if they ever hunt the lambs.
Who knew a bunch of wolves would live in a beaten-down house? Whisper wouldn't want to live there. In fact, she would live in a high-tech secret hideout in a big city. And sorry, Whisper the Wolf won't join the channel until Sega finally brings her to the games with a voice. And no, Sonic Force's speed battle doesn't count.
Let's hope the wolf dressed as Bo Peep is actually female and not a male wolf in drag.
Since this cartoon was made a very long time ago, playing in drag is common. But if the wolf is female, she plays the part as Bo Peep well. They really want to eat those poor little lambs.
In case if you can't tell, the wolf is trying to lure the lambs by playing the classic nursery rhyme, Merrie Had a Little Lamb. This cartoon won't be the only one that involves an animal luring smaller animals.
The rest of the lambs quickly escaped, but one just stays. It's lucky it's not chopped up yet.
As much as how cute lambs are, it's cruel for me of all people saying this, but lamb meat is actually tasty. It's gamey, a little robust, but Cream the Rabbit, on the other hand, never eats lamb. In fact, she rarely eats meat at all since rabbits are herbivores.
The plan fooling the lamb didn't work, so the wolf used a trumpet to once again lure the poor little lamb to get killed and eaten. But don't worry, the lamb doesn't die because we'll see our star in a bit.
I thought our tape was brand new, unless this one was untested and secretly used, or worst case scenario, we've been conned by those damn flea market vendors.
It's a good thing we already have seen these vintage cartoons a lot over the years. The wolf is using the trumpet like a vacuum sucking up a sheep in the fence. Another character from the IDW comics who won't be in the channel is Lanolin. If Sega brings Lanolin to the games, she'd be an awesome fit to the channel.
Uh-oh, the lamb's trapped. I wish we could help that little buddy out and defeat those wolves.
Who knew one little lamb could feed an entire pack of wolves? One lamb isn't enough to feed that many wolves. If anything, they'd need at least 2 or 3 more. In one of our old parties, we'd get 4 sheep used for meat.
The lamb is thankfully fast, like my beloved Sonic, but still defenseless. These beasts are going all out preparing for a lamb-themed picnic, and it isn't pretty. I know lamb meat is exquisite, but this little lamb is just too cute and innocent.
What brutes? What cowards? What fiends? What lamb chops?
I keep forgetting one wolf talked. When we first saw this cartoon a long time ago, we thought it would be a silent cartoon.
Oh no, that poor thing is surrounded and praying. Good thing our title character made it.
Mighty Mouse!
He's off.
Mighty Mouse is more like Mighty Mashup. He's got the charm of a certain cartoon mouse and the punch of a Kryptonian.
True, the wolf is almost done roasting the lamb. Hold on, sheepy. Mighty Mouse will save you.
It's just a cartoon after all. Nobody's getting eaten.
And here comes our star saving the day. It took the cartoon more than halfway for their main character to show up.
These wolves are finally getting what they deserve. If we were to save that little lamb, the wolves would all be flattened like pancakes.
Despite the Mickey Mouse Superman hybrid showing up, the wolves are doing whatever it takes to keep the lamb and eat it. With our speed, we'd get the lamb to safety with chaos control as long as we don't fry it.
I don't know, Shadow. Knowing us, we'd cause a lot of damage like Mighty Mouse. Sure, we're faster, but we'd ruin the fields. Plus, Mighty Mouse kind of reminds me of Astro Boy as a mouse instead of a human robot.
Good point, Sonic. So many classic characters have inspired each other, including ourselves. Video game icons, especially the ones from Japan, sure love inspiration from classic cartoons from the 20s through 70s.
Is that orange soda? I hope it's Fanta. Mountain Dew and root beer is our favorite soda, and orange soda is at 3rd place.
That wolf was terrible at his aim. Then again, even if he successfully shot Mighty Mouse, that mouse would be invincible since he's tougher than most rodents.
I think this is the best part of the cartoon. The wolves decided to turn their house into a bunch of cannons, and since Mighty Mouse is a badass, he shrugs it off while flying in a pot. I bet he'd kill Jerry the mouse from Tom and Jerry in a fight!
Judging by the big boom, those wolves are dead as dogs. Good thing the little lamb survives. And the best part, in my opinion, is that Mighty Mouse not only catches the lamb, but the lamb walks around Mighty Mouse's flying fire.
For some reason, it wouldn't make a difference if the lamb was a horse or a deer.
Now that's one happy ending from our first cartoon. Superman Mickey Mouse brought the lamb into safety and the other lambs cheered. The cutest part is the hug the mama sheep gave her baby.
He's the champion of sheep and men.
Mighty Mouse makes a great shepherd, but now it's time for the second cartoon. An old Merrie Melodies short that has 2 dogs and a rabbit that's a prototype Bugs Bunny.
I'm assuming the flea market seller only watched the first cartoon judging by the lower picture quality compared to this one. It actually looks remastered.
Our old VHS copy of these cartoons had lower, darker picture quality. This cartoon in particular was darker. We used to brighten up the TV in the settings, and since this tape is newer, we don't need to brighten it up this time.
I always thought these dogs were brothers, but since they're from different breeds, I'm now thinking they're just close friends that are mutts. The house they ran to is a magician's house. It's surreal and bizarre.
Just a heads up, the dogs don't talk, unlike the wolves from the previous cartoon. These mutts are more realistic, while also having occasional anthropomorphic tendencies.
That's one weird cuckoo clock. Since this is a Merrie Melodies cartoon, I thought that Cuckoo Bird was a mix of Daffy Duck and Tweety Bird, but as a sneaky 1940s themed bandit.
That sucks! Imagine a door magically closes and you're stuck without a friend.
I'd rather be alone than dealing with this lame rabbit. I know he's just a prototype, but I'm glad this isn't the real Bugs Bunny.
It took them a couple more cartoons before we finally got to see the mascot of Warner Brothers.
The magic tricks are impressive, at least.
But the dog will hate the rabbit soon enough like I do. that's enough maniacal laughter. Can we fast forward to the part where the dog kicks his fluffy tail?
That poor dog got a lobster clawing its nose. Let's see what the smaller dog is up to.
The little dog has to deal with a sentient rope instead of the rabbit. I bet Dr. Eggman would make a mechanical rope to attack the flickies and other little animals.
Plus, it would be just as cruel and mean as the rope messing with the dog. I would just cut it up in pieces if I were to deal with this magic rope.
To hell with that, I'd burn the damn rope.
The growling and the way it walks make this dog a funny little one despite getting hit. Now let's see how the bigger dog is with the lobster. It's a miracle its nose isn't gone.
Great. There's that sumbitch again with its not-so-funny yet irritatingly loony cartoon antics.
Where's Elmer fucking Fudd when you need him? You'd think he'd arrive to take down that mean old Squooey-Wascully Wobbit, but he didn't meet the real Bugs Bunny until a year later in the cartoon short, A Wild Hare.
Someone's been watching their old cartoons lately. Bugs Bunny is another character who isn't afraid of dressing as a lady, and I think he's bisexual since he also kisses male characters, even as a prototype.
That dog should just attack the rabbit instead of just being a rabid beast, because it'll disappear. This scene has been engraved in my mind ever since I was at the Space Colony Ark watching these cartoons with Maria.
That smaller dog sure wants payback from the rope. It's actually mimicking its movement. I guess you could say it's doing a downward dog. Get it? Ha! Ha ha! That was a bad joke.
You did your best. I've heard worse, trust me.
Yeah, it's not as bad as the joke Silver made at Adventure-era Sonic and Amy's baby shower when he said he loved the name of one of the babies, Bolt, because he thought it was shocking.
The rope really needs an ass-kicking for hurting that dog. He just wants to find his friend.
Talk about being a scaredy cat. The dog is scared of the dark, but thankfully he doesn't have a lobster pinching his nose like the other one.
Since he's a puppy, he's lucky that the rope didn't take him back to the dog catcher from the beginning of the cartoon.
Now the rope has the magician's magic wand. I would just break it if I were being messed with.
That's exactly what the dog is doing, except he's just grabbing it and growling rather than breaking it.
Could you imagine swallowing a magic wand, and all of a sudden you do random tricks by hiccuping? I would have no effect since I was built to have no flaws in my immune system. Hell, I can't vomit because Professor Robotnik made my stomach a literal bottomless pit.
That damn rabbit is once again doing a few magic tricks just for messing with the dog! In later cartoons when Bugs Bunny was around, he actually messes with various enemies, and rightfully so. Here, this prototype is just messing with the dog for no reason.
And if the rabbit pinched my nose, I'd bite it, rather than just yelping. It'd be really funny hearing that rabbit scream like a little girl if the dog bit it in retaliation.
I can't tell if it's the dog that's laughing or the rabbit.
Definitely the rabbit! Jesus, the laugh is like a scary clown straight out of a slasher movie. That laughter still gives me chills.
Speaking of clowns, the other dog is still hiccuping, and this time it's balloons. And Pennywise didn't exist yet.
Shut the fuck up, you annoying bunny piece of shit. I've had enough of your bullshit. That dog better kill this ass clown.
Calm down, Shadow. The rabbit will get his comeuppance soon. The other dog is gonna fly away with the balloon hiccups. We'll see what happens next.
Yeah, the rabbit is clearly not gonna let one dog into the other room, but with the other dog flying, they'll bump into each other.
That little dance is funny, though.
Finally, a little pain for the rabbit. And would you look at that? The little dog almost has the same shade of white with the rabbit.
With the rabbit tied up, the bigger dog should have a magic trick of his own.
And it's putting the rabbit in a box within a box, and so on and so on.
The dog must be strong, but not as much as me and Knuckles. We'd carry the big box with one hand.
I'm strong too. My hammer is very heavy. I remember you both tried to lift it, but you struggled. Current/meta era Amy's hammer, on the other hand, is like any other hammer like Vector carried it in Sonic Boom.
Again? Come on, the rabbit got out with magic.
Okay, that's the last straw. The dog is just as fed up as I am.
We've all been waiting for this part. Time to give the rabbit a knuckle sandwich.
He's gonna do it! He's gonna do it! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Man, that felt satisfying.
Yes, all villains in cartoons need a little just desserts.
That must have been a very powerful punch to the eye. The rabbit really needed to be taught a lesson, and he got it.
This cartoon had a lot of silly moments, but not as much as our third cartoon made by Noveltoons from Paramount Pictures' famous studios division.
Noveltoons is known for bringing characters like Casper the Friendly Ghost, Wendy the Good Little Witch, and Baby Huey to the world. Next year, we'll watch a couple of Baby Huey cartoons.
One little nitpick about this cartoon is that it's somewhat of a Tom and Jerry ripoff, but it's about a cat dealing with mice rather than just one mouse. The slapstick, however, is different and less painful.
You know how everyone likes to play contemporary music, and then there's older people who'd rather enjoy old music? It's kind of what the cat and mice are here. The cat is playing then modern jazz, while the mice are playing classical orchestral music. You'll see.
This cat is a one-man band, or in this case, a one-cat band. Blaze and Big should take notes if they see this.
I wonder how humans can let a cat have his own studio with music. Us Mobian animals have to bring humans with us to have our own properties. Chris Thorndike had to have all of our homes under his name.
There's the mice orchestra starting their music. It's actually epic. It's too bad that it's loud and distracting.
Back to what Shadow said. I think the cat has his own studio because he lives in a different universe maybe, where anthropomorphic animals and humans coexist together. But yeah, the mice are playing music straight out of a grand stage show.
The conductor is even standing on a block of cheese. I bet the mice couldn't find their own studio. And since they like to mess with the cat, I bet they wanted to torment him.
Since when would a farmer-looking mouse hang out with a bunch of orchestral musicians? That's out of place.
Here's one similarity to Tom and Jerry. When the cat get hit, he gets an imprint. There is one notable difference. This cartoon isn't a series, it's just a one-off, and this cat doesn't have a name, but it at least talks unlike Tom.
That was one powerful breath. The instrument had its air move the mice around like a hurricane or some kind of weather disaster.
The cat is just making his music, and the mice are being a bunch of pests. But if we were making music, we'd just ask them nicely to stop and go somewhere else to play their music.
Unlike Tom, this cat can not only talk, but he does a lot of things quickly, rather than planning everything out in advance. But he still has that similar angry face.
These mice sure know how to set everything back up after being blasted by the instrument. But the double bass shaking the floorboard was very funny. Much like Jerry, these mice are very sneaky and smart, but still irritating. As you grow old, you sympathize with the cat more than the mouse. Or mice in this case.
Gotta love how the water hose clangs with the music well. And speaking of the water hose, the cat is gonna flood the mouse hole with water. But as we all know, the mice survived and give the cat payback.
Now that was the funniest part of the cartoon. In fact, it was the funniest scene out of all the 4 cartoons we watch over the years, and it still cracks us up.
Even the cat laughed too, but not for long since the mice brought the hose to the phone somehow.
That hose has to be a very strong one if it can push a fully grown cat. And look, the mice are using their instruments as boats. They're way more resilient than we thought.
I always thought the cat said damn, but he actually said there in a New York or New Jersey accent.
You know the mice are smart when they can find an immediate spot to do their orchestration, while their hole is flooded with water.
Here's a funny visual gag. You'd think the cat is cutting the floor to get the mice out, but it was actually a big piano that'll crash down. This is something that the Sonic from the Dick cartoons would do to Dr. Eggman.
Either the cat is a dumbass, or these mice are just so talented and probably powerful. I think they have the ability to teleport like I do with chaos control.
Unsurprisingly, the cat survived the piano crashing into him. In real life, he'd be dead.
Why didn't I get hip to this before?
I get it. He's gonna lure the mice away as the Pied Piper just like one of the wolves did in the Mighty Mouse cartoon from the beginning.
The water from the hose must have been gone after the cat flooded the mouse hole, and the mice themselves must be tired or drunk, judging by their faces. The music is somewhat catchy, too.
I still want to know where the cat was going to take the mice. Drown them all in the water or take them to a boat and swim away?
Who knows? This short cartoon never tells anything. It just goes with the flow like we do when we're not fighting Eggman.
This cat has to be clumsy and stupid since he's gonna fall into the water. You'd think he'd have a boat or a life preserver with him, but no.
The water must have got the mice to snap out of their hypnotic state. And hey, where'd the jazz cat go? This furry freak show just turned into a yowling alley dweller.
Talk about a mood whiplash. 1 minute we're grooving to swinging sacks. The next we're dodging flying furballs and hearing the William Tell Overture.
The William Tell Overture? You mean that horse racing music? A touch of high culture amidst the chaos. I'll begrudgingly admit, it was well played.
And the mice are using rocks in sync with the music. The rocks sound like horses galloping.
Predictable, yet strangely satisfying. The mice used their superior intellect and musicality to overcome their opponent.
Beehive surprise! Guess that's one way to swat a jazz cat, right, guys?
Talk about a wild ending. This cartoon just keeps throwing curveballs.
The beehive and the cat going back to the water was unnecessary. An anticlimactic conclusion to an otherwise amusing display of feline folly.
The old VHS would cut this part and show a generic The End title card, but this one has the Paramount closing logo.
Now it's time for the fourth and final cartoon. It's another Merrie Melodies cartoon. It once again has a cat, but there are two who are an Abbott and Costello parody who meet a debuting Tweety Bird.
But unlike the cartoon with the prototype Bugs Bunny, this one is the official debut of Tweety Bird before Sylvester the cat was with him. Tweety had to deal with the two cats Babbitt and Cat Stello.
This cartoon has way more dialogue than the previous cartoons, and these cats are actually a funny duo. They just want to eat, but there's no scraps for them.
For those of you who want to hear the cats talk, I'd suggest watching the video twice, or just watch the cartoon on YouTube and come back here and hear our thoughts on this classic.
I don't want to fight no bird. I like birds. I go hungry first.
What's the matter, Freddy Cat?
We'll just shut up here and there and let these cats talk about their plans to eat Tweety even though they're the bad guys. At least Tweety has a reason to mess with these cats, unlike that prototype Bugs Bunny messing with the dogs.
Take it easy, take it easy.
Where's he get that stuff? Don't hold me back. I'll get him. I'll show him.
I got to say, even though these cats are a spoof of an old comedic duo, they're actually very funny and have good chemistry. It's too bad they're not as famous as the rest of the Looney Tunes. They were even mice and dogs in a couple of later cartoons, but they're better as cats.
Ouch! That's gotta hurt!
He did it.
That's one way to get up a ladder.
Stupid. Get the bird.
Oh,
Give me the bird. Give me the bird.
if the Hayes office would only let me, I'd give him the bird, all right.
If you didn't get the joke, Cat Stello would give Babbitt the middle finger, but that would be considered inappropriate, and the Hayes office is another name for the Motion Pictures Production Code.
Cat Stello sure likes to shout Babbitt's name. I just love the scene because the ladder turned into stilts. But Cat Stello being a goofball makes it worse for himself.
Help! Babbitt! Here I go again! Catch me! Help! Hey, I'm too young to die! Help!
He's being carried like a baby. Now that's funny.
Hey, how'd you get away up here?
The slap was icing on the cake. That's what I'd do if anyone acts stupid with me.
Of course, everything's under control.
Don't push me down in a box, Babbitt! Please don't do it! Don't do it! Hey, Babbitt! Oh, Babbitt! Babbitt!
What's the matter now?
I'm afraid of the dark.
Now that's one literal scaredy cat. Not even Tails or Charmy would be as easily scared.
I thought I tore a putty tab.
And look at that! Tweety's very first line is one of his most famous phrases. But where are the yellow feathers, dude? This bird looks like a tiny plucked chicken.
An interesting design choice for a debut. A naked canary. Not exactly aesthetically pleasing, like the professor said, It's like a bold commentary on the fragility of life. He loved Looney Tunes and Merrie Melodies.
Oh, the poor putty cat. He crushed his witty head.
Ha! That smirk always cracks me up. Tweety's still adorable, even without the yellow. It makes him unique for his first appearance, like a little pink snowball with wings. Plus, now I want an apple too.
You mean I'll get it in the end?
Yeah, and you'll get a big bang out of it, too.
I'm still surprised that Explosion didn't kill him. Unless in old cartoons, explosions have plot armor, like when the Dreamcast-era characters had to leave Prison Island in Adventure 2. Let's all have apples.
It took Catstello this long that he's flying up and falling down, and I'd be worried where my apple went if I were in his non-existent shoes.
Hey, cut it out! Cut it out, pigeon! Don't do that!
This witty
Believe it or not, this scene was recreated in Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That's how you know Tweety Bird is a memorable character playing with fingers and toes.
Well, what do you know? I ran out of pitties.
And like we said earlier, both Bugs Bunny and Tweety Bird like to mess with their enemies, and sometimes save them while still irritating them for fun. Not to mention Mel Blanc voiced both of them.
And if you listen carefully, you'll hear the sound effect that's used for the Tasmanian Devil spinning. And Taz didn't debut until over a decade later.
That's one heavy anvil. I bet Tweety is stronger than all of us combined.
The Looney Tunes have one advantage against all of the Sonic characters, and that's cartoon logic. Whatever they do, they'd be fine, and they are masochists compared to us. No wonder the Dick cartoons tried to replicate the humor and action.
Aren't you ashamed?
I don't know.
Why do you do these things?
I'm a bad pussycat.
Another slap, that's rich! As for the fast Looney Tunes, I actually know the Roadrunner and Speedy Gonzales because we would sometimes race around the deserts, and they're both nice and brave. I could imagine a crossover someday, but knowing Warner Brothers, I doubt it.
The lighting is perfect. Our old VHS copy had this scene so dark and muted because it's nighttime. This one is amazing, and seeing Catstello flying is just silly.
Hello? Fourth Interceptor Command? I see an unidentified object flying around my widow head.
By the way, this is a joke on World War II because of civilians not keeping their lights out in case air raids happened.
In the house?
Now he's falling again with the same exact animation, but without dialogue.
The pitchfork keeps zooming in too, but thanks to cartoon logic, he moved aside.
The ending is just random and rushed, but there's one surprise that always scares Amy.
Did you go to the bathroom before watching, Amy?
No. I just hate this scene. You'll see why.
Turn out those lights!
I just peed. Oh my god, Tweety's deep voice still scares me.
Either you need to stop that all-fluid diet, or you need to start using adult diapers like Rosie the Rascal. While I go ahead and rewind the tape and eject it, I may not find all forms of entertainment equally stimulating, I must admit. These classic cartoons offer a fascinating glimpse into the evolution of animation and humor.
Okay, I gotta admit, those cartoons were kinda rough around the edges. But hey, they had some classic moments! Like that dog punching the rabbit. Maybe not the most polished animation, but the music was catchy. I'm still humming that Cat's jazzy tune.
Maybe the stories weren't the most complex, but they were sweet and heartwarming. They reminded me of simpler times when everyone just wanted to have a good laugh. Sure, they're not masterpieces, but they're classics for a reason. They bring back happy memories and make you smile. That's what good entertainment is all about. Excuse me, boys. I better change my panties.
While you're at it, I shall continue this investigation of finding more public domain cartoons, with the caveat that you, the viewers, be warned. Unexpected results are to be expected. That's all for today. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Hit the bell icon so you won't miss new videos and spread the word. Follow us on TikTok as well.
Stick around and stay tuned for more new videos. Shadow will have a few videos leading up to the remastered Sonic Generations video with his other counterparts, and we got more videos on the way. Peace out and rock on.
This has been Juan C.L. Productions. The end.